Hello, welcome back to another episode of Never Say Never. Um, when I re-entered the hobby in 2008, 2009, it was a shock to the system because I was very naive to the term restoration. Okay, I never heard about it, never thought about it, never concerned about it. So it was a shock to the system to submit my books to CGC and got three. My first batch to CGC, I submitted 100 books. And when the batch returned, I got three restored books. I was like beside myself. I was upset, no doubt. I think most people, when they get their first purple label, can't be happy, right? But there was an X-Men 94. There was Spider-Man. I kept one of them. Okay, this is it. This is the Spider-Man 4 that I got. There was an X-Men 14 as well, and then X-Men 94. There's three books that got the dreaded restore label, and I was so upset with myself because I felt, as we all should, felt duped, cheated. And at that point I was saying to myself, never, I will never buy a restore book. Never, never, never. And over the next year or so, being a curious person that I start to try to understand restoration, like why people would do this. Of course, no doubt it is to scam people, to dupe people, to get more money from you and I. But there had to be more than that. So I kind of looked into the history of restoration, and I learned a lot of neat thing about the history. I went back to even my first price guide. Shockingly, I bought this price guide back in early 1982. I was pretty cheap, so I waited for this to be used to buy it. This came out in 1980, summer of 1980, I believe, but I wait until like early 1982 to buy it. It's falling apart. The spine, the glue is completely gone. Okay, so it's in pieces. I'm not restoring this one. But in here, okay, is an interesting. I may have talked about this in another video. I made so many videos that I can't recall if I brought this up before. But there's a company in Massachusetts that advertised in the Overstreet Guide, even in the early 80s. This is 1980 price guide. So right here, if you can see it, we sell investment and insurance. And in here, it talk about restoration is an investment. A skilled restorer can enhance the value of a book, often at a cost far below that of upgrading to a better copy. The history of restoration is, if you want to talk about restoration, sure, imagine in the 40s and the 50s when Junior found an old book that was tattered in pieces, and he wanted to preserve the books and put some glue on the cover to seal a tears, or fix a spine split, or put tape, or do whatever to preserve the book. It's not meant to dupe anybody. The intent was not to dupe anybody. And the more I look back in the history of how the hobby look at restoration, the more I understand about the topic, and my view changes. I'm not here to try to convince anybody that they should like restore books, they should accept restore books. There are people that would rather swallow their own tongue before they buy a restore book. So be it. More books for me. And that's fine. Like I said, we all have our own personal preferences, whether it's comic books or our mates. There's people that would not date short people. There's people that would not date heavy people. It is what it is. I'm not here to change the world or change anyone's view, but for me, at least, the view of never ever buy restore book changes the more I look at the hobby and the history, and as well as the rarity of some books. If you have a Detective 27 that are restored and within the price range that I am willing to spend my money on, I will buy it. Same thing with Action 1 or Superman 1 or Batman 1, you name it. There are books that are fairly hard to find in any condition. Now, I have a never ever thing is incomplete books. I cannot deal with that. Okay, so some people, oddly to me, can buy incomplete books, but they would rather do a blue label incomplete book than a purple label. I did a video on Stop the Stupid about that point, but for me, never ever buy a restored book changes once I peer into the history of the hobby, understand why things were done, and to me, as long as the restoration is known to me, I'm not duped, I'm okay with it. Okay, does that mean that I'm okay to buy any restore book? Absolutely not. I said this before. There are things that are rare, hard to find, that I have no problem buying a restore books, and then there are things that I will never buy a restore books. Never ever. Stays with bronze, even silver age. To me, there is no reason to do that. But like I said, it's my personal preference. If you want to buy restore silver age or bronze age, I don't look down on you. But does it matter if anybody look down on me to own restore golden age books? Me no care. So yes, that's it. I would love to hear other people video or see other people videos on this topic of never ever. Okay, never say never. Never say never to buying restore books. Okay. At least I changed my mind. I'd love to hear if there are other people out there that are like mine, like me. I know one person for sure would be Reaper Tate, Anthony. I'm pretty sure he shares a similar view, but I'd love to hear the views of other people that said never about buying restore book but have changed their mind. And that's it for this video. Enough of my rambling. Until the next one. Bye bye.